Penistone FM is working with the Cancer Alliance to increase awareness around cancer symptoms to get you to act now and get checked out. Cancer survival has more than doubled in the last 40 years. 9 out of 10 people get the all clear from the hospital, so getting your symptoms checked out early is a positive thing. If you're worried about a friend or family member with symptoms, please encourage them to see their GP now. Early diagnosis saves lives, so be that friend.
Good advice there from Steve Dobson. And I'm particularly blessed today because I've got the lovely Kimberley Hattersley-Barton in the studio with me. And Kimberley, we've spoken in the past about the fact you've had cancer 4 different times now, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. But I mean, when you're listening to that kind of stuff about take notice and act early, you've actually got some personal experience of that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, the first time my first cancer was a childhood cancer, so I can't remember anything to do with that, but when I was 18, the way I found my second diagnosis was noticing the lump on my tongue, and I didn't notice or think anything of it, but then once I realised it wasn't normal, I kind of went to the GP and asked for a referral, and it all got picked up from there. And again, the third diagnosis, even though I was under surveillance under the hospital departments, they just routinely looked at me and checked up, but it was me that said, yeah, I think this soreness that I had been having for over a year was at the point of it had started to change again. So yeah, it's knowing your own body and when things don't feel right.
I think you're absolutely right, and you make a brilliant point there about, nobody knows you like you do. And sometimes, you can say to somebody else and they go, oh, it's nothing to worry about. But everybody should keep an eye on themselves. And the fact that you kind of got a heightened awareness, obviously because of everything you've been through, is actually a good thing, right? Because I know before we were talking on, you said to me, oh, I'm a bit croaky at the moment, aren't you? My voice is a bit croaky. But actually, and you did say to me, my lovely, you said, well, I've ignored it for 5 weeks, so big smack on the wrist for that. Big smack on the wrist for that, right? You're too important, to leave it. But actually, you've gone and done something about it, haven't you?
Yeah, because that's the thing. You can put up with something for so long, and obviously life gets busy. You don't want to break up routine, and you prioritise different things, but really, you can only prioritise yourself first, and that's what you need to listen to. And if your body's not in tune with where you feel like it should be, then you've got to listen to that, because really that's the most important thing. Right,
and then take action, which is exactly what you did.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. Well, we'll be back talking to my lovely co-presenter, Kimberley Hattersley-Barton, in a bit. But what should we do now? Oh, I know. Let's have a bit of Bruce Springsteen, shall we? It's gonna last eternally. There we go, Sugar Might Not, good thing going. And we're back speaking to my special guest and lovely co-presenter, Kimberley Hattersley-Barton. While that was going on, we were having a chat, obviously. And one of the things I was saying to Kimberley, and she was, I think, agreeing with me, was as a patient, particularly if you get sort of moved around the NHS, how each time you turn up somewhere new, it's like it's the beginning again. I mean, you were telling me some of the stuff about that, weren't you, Kimberley?
Yeah, every time you go to a new clinic, or sometimes if you're even in a long-term clinic, you could be seeing a different consultant every time. And with someone like myself who's got a complex health history, it's kind of hard to summarise something again with a fresh face every single time. So it is more helpful if you're seeing someone that knows you, because every patient is an individual. You might have the same condition, but each patient's going to have a different experience with that.
Yeah, and I think there is a risk that, they're treating the disease and not the patient. But, I mean, you're trying to do something about that, aren't you? Can you tell me a bit about your patient advocacy work?
Yeah, so I really try and use my own voice in a way for other patients, so that if from my own experiences or things that I've found are quite a common theme that get brought up from a patient's perspective, is that it gets vocalised, so the healthcare professionals can understand what we're going through, what our worries are, what we feel can do, what could be done better, and helpful conversations or ways we are addressed and talked to, or just things that we'd prefer maybe not to be said or addressed differently, and all of that's going to impact how we feel about our own care as well, because we're only in charge of so much and the healthcare professionals in charge of the majority of it, and so it's got to work both ways really.
And you've been actually out and about talking to like specialist doctors about exactly this, haven't you?
Yes, I was lucky enough earlier in the year to be invited to a conference in Parma to talk about interventional radiology, my own story, and share the awareness on the experiences I've had, things that I felt that could have gone better in conversations that I've experienced myself. Later in the year, I'm actually doing another conference for head and neck cancer that's run by the Swallows. I was invited again from my social media page to be a lead speaker on a panel there, so I'll be doing more of that again. So yeah, it's just sharing the patient's perspective and really what values need to be taken into consideration with all that.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And the thing that I've heard about, and I welcome your view on this, is if you're a patient with complex needs and you get sort of sent to different departments, each doctor you see sometimes want to go back to sort of square one and run all the tests you've had before elsewhere again for some reason. Have you found that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't quite understand it, but I do find it's quite a lot, because quite personally at the minute I would describe it as you don't feel like you're in charge of your own body. Like you don't have a choice of it sometimes, because you're asked to do something or have a test and you don't really have an option. Of course you always do, but because you think that's what needs to be done, you just routinely go with it. But it can be a lot, especially if it's a repetition thing.
Well, that's my point. If you've had it done before, I don't know, 4 weeks or 8 weeks ago, have you ever been tempted to tell them to like take a hike, mate, and read the notes?
Exactly, yeah, because that's the thing. All the notes are transferable. There are different systems that do prevent different healthcare systems from reading the results. I'm aware of that, but at the same time, it just literally comes down to the key point of communication, and that's by default. Everything just needs to be thoroughly communicated all the time.
So if you had one plea to all the doctors who might be listening, what would it be?
I'd say always put the patient's perspective and needs first, because you can go forward with anything from that.
Brilliant. All right. Well, Kimberley's going to stay with me. I'm very pleased to say she's going to stay all the way through the show, so we'll talk to Kimberley a bit later on. What should we do next? Oh, I know. Let's have some Zootons, shall we? Like that, they were gone. Sunset Strippers, Falling Stars. My special guest and indeed co-presenter today is the very lovely Kimberley Hartley-Barton. And while stuff was going on, I've been having a chat to her and saying, really, Kimberley, how easy is it for you to have like a regular 26-year-old life?
I'd say it's far from regular. I mean, there's probably no such thing as average, because everyone's on their own track of where they are at life and what they want to do. But for me, as an average 26-year-old, it's far from that, because I can't have an average everyday full-time job. I can't go and do certain things with friends, and it's all that reminder for myself that I need to take things steady and take a day at a time, a week at a time, and just do what my body needs me to do and listen to that. I can go out and about, have a great afternoon with friends, but then I might come home and absolutely be wiped out.
Yeah, and I mean, we've spoken about this before, but having said that, you did, I know because you told me, go and see Taylor Swift in Liverpool, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
And how was that?
That was amazing. I love music. I really enjoy listening to Taylor's music, so that in itself was a great and incredible concert. Of course, 3.5 hours, which is a long time to be stood on your feet, and
yeah,
you know, that is for me in itself a little bit tiring, and especially in a stadium where you've got to go up all the steps and stuff. So yeah, it's that balance of, yeah, it's great having that normality and enjoying stuff like that, but then also kind of realising just, yeah, take it steady at the same time and don't go too wild with it.
All right, yeah, so you only jumped up and down for 3 hours, not 3.5.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and were they kind to you? I mean, did people help you and stuff?
Yeah, so I have an access card, and that meant that I wasn't having to queue for ages or anything like that, which obviously helped with the standing and the long distance walking. So yeah, the stadium and the staff were great that way.
All right, brilliant. And you didn't get Taylor's Trilby hat that she gives out at the end then?
Unfortunately not, no.
No, see, I had to push you all the way to the front. Taylor, she's over here. Brilliant. All right, but you did the friendship bracelet thing, didn't you? I mean, sorry, not that I'm a big...
Yeah.
Well, I quite like Taylor Swift, to be honest. And I think I like her for who she is as well. I think that's kind of... She seems to be as regular as any billionaire pop star can be, quite frankly. But did you do the friendship bracelet thing and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my friends, she'd made us all bracelets, and we definitely did trade them with other people. So yeah, it was a great little community to be together with.
All right, brilliant. All right, let's get back to the music. What should we have now? I know, let's have some Robbie Williams. All right, that's it for Saturday Lunchtime Live for today. I'd like to say thank you to my special guest and co-presenter, Kimberley Hattersley-Barton.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me.
It's been lovely having you here. Thanks to you if you've been listening for the last 2 hours, bless your consoles. Been listening for the last 2 minutes, bless your consoles as well. Thanks to Adio for the entertainment news. For everybody who sent the community news in, thank you. Don't forget to keep it tuned to Penistone FM. All being well, I'll be back on Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning for breakfast. So until then, take care and see ya.